Peter Bleksley, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. David. How are you?
I'm very well, actually, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Nice Christmas?
Oh, my bird was deliciously moist on Christmas Day.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, and yeah, the day just improved from there on, really.
Did it?
Yeah.
Did it? And who cooked?
My friend.
Right.
Yeah, we went to friends.
So you had a couple of sherries?
Oh, yes, most definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Although I paced myself.
Did you?
Yeah, I did Christmas, but and I enjoyed it all the more for it, to be honest
Now,
with you.
did you... I remember you saying that you were going to meet up with all the kids or something. Is that right?
No.
Is that later?
Our young adults
Yes.
are travelling the world.
Yes.
So on Christmas Day, for the first time ever, my wife and I woke up to an empty house. No kids
And how was she? Because you
whatsoever.
said she was actually going to be very worried about that.
Well, I bought her some rather nice theatre tickets for Christmas,
Well done.
which cheered her up immensely.
Very good.
And then we went to our friends for Christmas dinner, joined their family. We had a fabulous time.
Lovely, lovely. I've told people what happened. I left here on Christmas Eve, got home, the heating had broken, then my water hosed through the ceiling, and then the dog ate the cheese.
Oh,
It went really well.
Did you get your boiler fixed?
No, I couldn't get it done until after Christmas. So, but I was lucky because I could light a log fire, and that's and that's the joy of living in the countryside.
Okay.
But Christmas behind us. We're looking forward to the new year, and of course, front page this morning, pretty much in not every paper, but lots of paper. This is the Daily Telegraph, also the Daily Mail. We're talking about the New Year's honours list. I have very mixed feelings about the New Year's honours list, but the headline this morning, this is the Daily Telegraph. PM knights Khan in a reward for failure. Yes, you heard that right. Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London, has been knighted in Sir Keir Starmer's first New Year's honours list. Let's just look at his track record, shall we? So the congestion charge, the ULEZ, spiralling knife crime. Why is he be honoured?
Unlike you, David, I don't live in a countryside. I live in a London suburb.
Yes.
I've lived in London boroughs all my life. And since Khan's election to the role of mayor, way back in 2016, I've seen this city nosedive. Nosedive in terms of rising crime, unsolved crime. The Metropolitan Police, of course, remain in what's called engage, otherwise known as special measures. The standard of behaviour on our tubes, our buses, our trains is so appalling that women are harassed on a very, very frequent basis. The streets are... there are so many homeless people on our streets, which is unfortunate for them, and I'll say unsightly for others to have to navigate their way around. And quite frankly, London is not the city it was. How on earth he can get a knighthood is frankly beyond me.
Well, you're right. Knife crime has increased by more than 50%. Violent crime soaring, despite a 71% increase in the portion of council tax, of course, that Londoners pay to City Hall. There's a housing crisis. We've seen, obviously, ULEZ as well. The other thing that drives me potty being in London is those 20-mile-an-hour zones. And, of course, the way that traffic has actually become more congested under Sadiq Khan. I honestly don't know who he is working for, apart from himself.
Oh, he's waged war on the motorists. I mean, ever since he came in. And now, quite frankly, it's almost an impossibility to drive in London, not only because you will crawl anywhere at a snail's pace, but the expense of it all, with ULEZ, congestion charging and the such like. So I always use the alternative, which is public transport, and, just to reiterate what I said a few moments ago, I see that nosediving. Yesterday, I posted a picture. I was on the Bakerloo line at 8 o'clock in the morning, and there is somebody in filthy clothes, prone, asleep across 4 or 5 seats.
Just not acceptable.
And yet Khan says every journey matters on the London Underground and on the buses and all of that. You could have fooled me. London has simply got more dangerous. Don't get your phone out because somebody will nick it. Don't wear a nice watch because somebody will rob you of that. London's got increasingly dangerous. The police have got increasingly ineffective. The streets are dirty, littered, filthy, and so many people are being turned off coming to London. And he gets a knighthood. It is utterly ludicrous.
And the Daily Mail reiterates exactly your sentiment. Prime Minister's reward for failure, Sadiq Khan, is knighted. Of course, this is 3 weeks before the inauguration of Donald Trump. There's a spat, of course, between the two of them. Sadiq said it was un-British to host a state visit for the incoming President of the United States. Also, let me just remind you of that time that Sadiq Khan described protesters rallying against that ULEZ, the ultra-low emission zone expansion. He called them far-right, COVID deniers and Tories. Let's take a look.
What I find unacceptable, though, is some of those who've got legitimate objections joining hands with some of those outside who are part of a far-right group. Let's be frank. Let's call a spade a spade. Some of those outside are part of the far-right. Some are COVID deniers. Some are vaccine deniers, and some are Tories.
He is so divisive.
Oh, he really is. And, of course, he relies heavily on the block brown vote in London. And they've elected him 3 times, astonishingly, ludicrously, foolishly, I would venture to suggest. He knows his audience. He knows how to get voted in. He knows exactly what to say because, of course, London has swathes of this city, not only the inner parts of it, but the suburbs, that are almost full exclusively of brown and black faces. That's how it is. That's a fact. That's not racist. There are areas that are predominantly, no, overwhelmingly.
And why do they vote for him?
Because he's a brown-faced man and he will criticise anything that is perceived to be right of centre, slightly right of centre, anything that kind of represents the man who drives a van for a living, needs to get into London to earn a shilling or 3, and is in any way, shape or form not basically part of the lunatic left.
I mean, it certainly seems that he panders to those minority groups. He knows, as you say, exactly where his vote is. It seems the vast majority of Londoners are ignored. And as you rightly say, he has been rewarded for failure. What does it say about the wider award system? Or I'm thinking about people like Emily Thornberry. You remember when she had a go at someone hanging out a St George's flag out of their house and essentially implying that was racist.
But there's just one thing I need to say before we move on to Thornbury, if I may.
Yeah.
When you say minority groups, in many parts of London, they are the overwhelmingly dominant group, and they are not minorities in any way, shape or form, and Khan knows that.
Oh, he certainly does.
Block votes, and those are who he appeals to, and that is largely why he's been elected, sadly, 3 times. But moving on to Emily Thornberry.
Yeah, let's talk about Thornberry. Of course, she is a veteran left-wing politician. She was a former shadow attorney general, a Corbyn loyalist, of course. She called Trump a racist, sexist predator. Now, it was in Rochester where she posted that picture of the St George's flag. There was a white van outside, and she said, and the caption was, "Image from Rochester." It was rude, belittling, and actually it was, frankly, also inflammatory.
Yeah, I wonder if she'd ever ventured down to Cornwall, where many, many people proudly display the Cornish flag in their front gardens on flagpoles. You can see it wherever you go throughout Cornwall. And I say to proud Cornish people, you show your flag. You raise that flag to the top of the flagpole and be proud of where you live and your culture. Would Thornbury go down there and start berating people like that? But no, you see, because they are so rampantly left, and because in their world any kind of allegiance to your nation, to be proud, to say you're British, to wear a Union flag, to wear an England flag, whether that be on a waistcoat, on a tie or something, and I suspect you've probably got a Union Jack waistcoat.
I might have.
Amongst your huge collection, Dr. David.
I've got St George's tie.
There you go, and I've got a Union flag tie, and I wear that as and when I choose to. But any kind of allegiance like that is seen by the rabid left as being inherently racist because they just don't get the simple fact that people would like to be proud of where they come from, their heritage, their history, cuts across another story a day about the national curriculum, and they can't handle it.
Can I just ask you generally, so lots of other politicians have made the list as well, apart from Emily Thornberry. Also, we've seen Andy Street, the Conservative Mayor, a former Conservative Mayor of the West Midlands, Sir Nick Gibb, the former Education Minister, Patricia Hewitt is in there as well. On top of that, you've also got people who are rewarded for broadcasting, for example. Alan Titchmarsh has got a CBE. I'm not quite sure about that. This is Services to Horticulture. You've also got Stephen Fry. This is one of the big names, 67, the host of QI, star of shows like Jeeves and Wooster. Crikey, that was a long time ago. He was knighted, and this is much more of a reason for me, for services to mental health awareness, the environment and charity. Just in terms of the award system, is it out of control? It seems to me that obviously these are at the bequest of the government, they are submitted to the King, but, you know, it's job for the boys and girls, isn't it, a lot of this?
It is, to a certain extent, but I'd like to highlight some of the awards that are given out that really raise my soul and make me think perhaps this system does have some merit. Michaela Beams, she's 18 and she comes from Wantage in Oxfordshire. OK, now this young woman was diagnosed with cancer when she was 4 years old.
I know.
And she's now 18, and for 14 years she has campaigned and raised, get this, £350,000.
It's amazing.
What a wonderful young lady she is. And she, of course, has been given a British Empire Medal.
And rightly
Michaela,
so.
You make me proud to be British, young lady. And so many other people, like Wendy Tarpley-Morris, who founded what's called the Little Princess Trust, and they provide wigs to children suffering cancer treatment who lose their hair. These are the stories I want to hear about. These are the British heroes, including, and I'll stop after this one because I'm sure you want me to, but a music teacher, Nathaniel Dye, he's 39. He's been given an MBE because he raised £37,000 for Macmillan, that wonderful charity that supports people with cancer, since he was terminally diagnosed in 2023. Yeah. And he's already raised £37,000. Nathaniel, you enjoy that MBE.
Absolutely, well said. I think this is where the award system does come into its own, actually. There's some other quite notable ones in here as well. Of course, those people campaigning in the Horizon scandal, the post office scandal, and rightly so, they've been given awards. Seema Misra, she says, of course, she was handed a 15-month prison sentence in 2010, 6 counts of false accounting. She was not guilty of that. She has been given an OBE in the New Year's honours list. Also, Bill Wright recognised for his work on the infected blood scandal, a really important cause as well. Just one quick one. I just want to ask you, before I turn to the question I want to ask people this morning. The boss of Network Rail has been knighted. I mean, this obviously is an infrastructure operator. It has been beset with problems. It is moving into this Great British Railways, which is this great idea of the current government. And of course, all we've seen is delays, poor service. We've seen fatalities on there. Train delays since he joined Network Rail in 2018 have risen from 9.2 million minutes to 15.2 million minutes per year.
And these are the kind of awards that make me scratch my head and go, what is it all about? They stand in such stark contrast to those wonderful people I was speaking about just a minute or two ago. It seems like this element of these gongs, these knighthoods, very much are jobs for the boys. Establishment rewarding the establishment.
Yeah. There's some interesting ones as well. Sir Kezio Ishiguro is made a Companion of Honour, a select group limited to 65 people. That sounds a good one to have. I'll talk more about these and also which kind of awards, what means what. And there's a sort of list, a hierarchical list of those awards. Let's take a voice note now. Keep all your messages coming in, please. 0344 499 1000. Voice notes, you can leave a message, you can text, you can tweet, you can do all sorts. This is James talking about Keir Starmer bestowing an award on Sadiq Khan.
My New Year's wish is for once Starmer goes on one of his so-called trips again. Hopefully the man stays there. Absolute disgrace he is. And the fact that they always gave Sadiq Khan and Gareth Southgate both sirs for failing. My God. Anyway, both have a great day. Cheers, David.
Thanks ever so much, James. Keep all of those messages coming in.